Hi, I'm Pamela Lalbachan and I am a chef and food writer and the author of the Complete Caribbean Cookbook. Putting a bit of lime over my chicken before I start anything else. I love a bit of fresh lime juice on the meat before we start. Not too much, I don't really want it to cook, but I'll just put a bit of lime juice through just while I prepare some of the other things and get everything ready. To caramelise the sugar and put a coating onto the chicken. So the first thing I'm going to do is to put about a teaspoon or two of sugar in there. And just let that brown. Don't let it burn because that sugar will get bitter. You want that to just warm up, melt, and get slightly brown and caramel. Okay, the sugar's nice and brown. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my chicken pieces in first. I'm just going to let that cook till the chicken gets a beautiful brown colour on both sides. So that will just take a couple of minutes on each side. You want to be careful not to overcrowd the pan, because if you do, you'll lose the browning effect, and instead of keeping the oil really hot, you'll end up with a lot of liquid in the pan, which defeats the object. When the chicken's been cooking for a few minutes, you should start to see that it's brown on the other side, at which point you want to turn them over and do the same on the other side. Okay, the chicken's brown on both sides, so now what I'm going to do is add some finely chopped shallots. Just sprinkle that in around the chicken, along with some Spanish onion. I like the red onion, I think it has a very nice sweet flavour. Then I'm going to add red pepper and some yellow pepper, again because I like the sweetness of the yellow pepper. And I'm going to add some garlic. And just give that a good stir. Allow those vegetables to just saute a little. Okay, the next thing I'm going to add are some fresh herbs. And one of the things I include in fresh herbs in my cooking, and I think is very much the case in the Caribbean, is the use of celery leaves. So here I have some celery leaves that I've chopped up, which are sometimes quite hard to find because you tend to find celeries have the leaves cut off when you buy them in the supermarket or the shops. So I'm adding these celery leaves and a few sprigs of thyme, which I will just give a little twist to so that I can get the flavours out of that. And last but not least, the infamous scotch bonnet. These are very hot peppers and they're from the Caribbean traditionally. They add a great flavour to a dish. I'm going to put it in whole. That way I can keep control of it. I can take it out when I want to because it's such a hot pepper. The last thing I want to do is pierce it or cut it. That will make the dish really very hot. The reason I'm using it is because it has such a beautiful flavour. It's a kind of nutty flavour that's very distinctive. And then I'm also going to add some chopped tomatoes, which I have peeled and seeded. The colours look great in this dish. And now I'm going to add some homemade chicken stock. Just allow this chicken now to stew and to slowly take its time cooking so that we get all those flavours in. Remember, the chicken itself will release some of its own juices. So I just keep an eye on the level of chicken stock you've got there. If you find that it dries down too quickly, you might want to add a little bit more to ensure that it cooks evenly. I'll just add a touch more to cover a bit more. And then I will put the lid on and allow that to simmer for about 25 minutes, half an hour. The chicken's been cooking there for about 25-30 minutes, and I did take the lid off at one point for a few minutes because there was quite a lot of liquid. I wanted to make sure that what I was left with was quite a thick sauce. This dish goes so well with rice and peas traditionally in Jamaica, rice with beans, black beans, Cuban beans, whatever beans you'd like. It's just such a beautiful dish to have with something that will soak up the gravy. And that's how you make stewed chicken.